Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we get into the weeds of data analytics and AI to build a real high-impact learning path for you. Today we're focusing on the true mindset of a senior BI analyst, specifically mastering Power BI, but, way beyond just the basic drag-and-drop visuals.
Yeah, that's right. This is all about moving from being a report builder to an analytical architect.
So our mission is to break down what really separates the pros from the beginners. We're talking proper data modeling, some of that tricky DAX logic, building revenue dashboards that executives actually want to see, and of course the big one, the role of Copilot as we head towards 2026.
Exactly. This is the shortcut. You have to stop thinking about just clicking on charts and really start obsessing over the structure underneath. That's where all the power is.
Okay, let's jump right in then, the foundation. Because, if that's weak, the whole thing just falls apart. We have to start with data modeling. All the sources flag this as the #1 thing.
It is. And here's the first big stat that really hits home. Analysts estimate that a full 80% of all problems in Power BI, stability, performance, you name it, they come from a bad model, not from bad visuals.
80%.
Yeah.
That's huge. So if your dashboard is slow or the numbers look wrong, you shouldn't be looking at the chart. You should be looking at the relationships tab.
That's the first place to look. Absolutely. You can have the most beautiful dashboard in the world, but if the model is broken, the numbers are just plain wrong.
So for someone listening who's maybe inherited a messy file, what does that ideal clean model actually look like?
It's all about simplicity. You want that classic star schema.
Yeah.
At the very center, you have your fact tables. Think fact sales. It's just transactions, events.
Right.
And then surrounding it, you have your dimension tables. These give the context. So dim customer, dim product, dim date. They're all the who, what, where, when.
And the sources are pretty strict about the actual shape of these tables, right? Their speed and stability.
Oh, shape is everything. Your fact tables have to be long and skinny. I'm talking potentially hundreds of millions of rows, but very few columns, just the numbers and the keys to link out.
And the dimensions are the opposite.
The complete opposite. They're short and wide. You might only have, say, 10,000 unique customers, so 10,000 rows, but you'll have lots of columns describing them, their name, their address, what segment they're in.
Okay, and this leads to the cardinal rule, the one I see beginners break all the time. The relationships.
Yes. The big one, the one that causes instant chaos, is trying to join a fact table directly to another fact table.
You never do that.
You never, ever do that. It's the fastest way to get insane inflated numbers.
And why is that so catastrophic? What's happening under the hood?
Well, fact tables usually operate at different levels of detail, what we call granularity. So if you link fact sales to fact inventory directly, Power BI doesn't know how to match them up correctly. It creates this massive uncontrolled join, and you end up double counting, triple counting. Your totals are just garbage.
So you always have to go through a dimension table.
Always. You use the dimension as the bridge. That's what keeps the logic clean and the DAX predictable. Get that right, and you've solved most of your problems before you even write a line of code.
Okay, so that's a perfect transition. Speaking of DAX, let's talk about the biggest point of confusion in the entire language, context. The sources all point to two types, filter context and row context.
Yep. These are the two modes DAX operates in. Filter context is pretty intuitive. It's just whatever filters are currently active. You click on 2024 on a slicer, the whole report is now in the 2024 filter context.
Simple enough. What about row context?
Row context is different. It's an iterator. It means DAX is going down a table, one single row at a time, and performing a calculation. Functions like SEMX or filter use it, and it's also what's happening when you create a calculated column.
And this is where we hit the really advanced part, the thing that unlocks everything else. Context transition. It sounds, almost magical.
It does, but it's pure engineering. Context transition is the bridge between those two worlds. It's what happens when DAX is forced to take the information from a single row and turn it into a filter for the entire data model.
Okay, can we use an analogy here?
Yeah.
Because that's still a bit abstract.
Let's try the spotlight analogy. Your whole data model is a giant stadium. Filter context is like the main stadium lights. You hit the switch for 2024 and the whole field is lit up.
Got it.
Row context is like one person walking through the stands with a tiny little flashlight, just looking at one seat, one transaction at a time.
Okay.
Context transition is when that person's tiny flashlight suddenly blasts outward and illuminates the entire stadium, but only based on the properties of that one seat they were looking at.
Oh, that clicks. So if the flashlight was on row 47, which was customer A buying product B, suddenly the whole stadium is filtered for just Customer A and product B.
Precisely. You've transitioned from the context of one row to a filter context for the whole model.
And when does that spotlight blast happen?
It happens specifically when you're in a row context and you wrap your expression in the most important function in all of DAX, calculate.
Which brings us to our next point.
Yeah.
The sources claim that calculate is responsible for something like 70% of all core business logic.
I'd say that's probably conservative. If you master calculate, you've basically mastered DAX. It's the entire filtration engine. It's how you, the analyst, tell Power BI to ignore the default filters and answer a new question.
So break it down for us. What are the steps when calculate runs?
Okay, 4 things happen. First, it looks at the current filter context, what the user has clicked on. Second, it removes any of those filters that you tell it to. Third, it applies the new filters that you provide inside the function. And fourth, it recalculates the measure under this brand new modified context.
Let's use an example, the classic one. Calculating revenue last year. How does calculate do that?
So you'd write something like, calculate revenue, same period last year, dim data date. The report is currently looking at, say, 2025. Calculate sees that, throws away the 2025 filter, and applies the new one from the same period last year, which is 2024.
And that lets you see both years side by side in the same chart.
Exactly. It's fundamental. You're overriding the default behavior to ask a comparative question.
What about something more specific? Like, I only want to see revenue from my electronics category no matter what else is clicked.
Same logic. You'd write, calculate revenue, dim product category, electronics. You're basically telling Power BI, I don't care what the user's filtering on. For this specific calculation, only show me electronics. It gives you surgical control.
So it's not just a function, it's the tool you use to define the questions you want to ask the data.
That's the perfect way to put it. It turns a static report into a dynamic analytical tool.
Okay, so let's shift from the code to the real-world application. Building a professional-grade revenue dashboard. The sources lay out a 5-step process here.
Right, and we've already covered step 1, the clean model. Step 2 is creating your core measures, reusable metrics.
Like total revenue, average order value.
Exactly, and the key here is you never hardcode numbers. You build these measures once, and they become the single source of truth for the entire report.
Oh, that's a huge one. Hardcoding feels like a shortcut, but it just creates technical debt down the line. A total nightmare to audit.
An absolute nightmare. Step 3 is then layering on your time intelligence, your year-over-year growth, your rolling totals. You build these on top of your core measures.
And once that logic is solid, then, and only then, do you get to step 4, the visuals.
Yes, and a professional dashboard tells a full story. You start with a high-level revenue trend, then immediately you show the year-over-year growth for context.
Then you break it down.
You have to. Performance by category, by region, maybe some customer segmentation, and crucially, a profitability breakdown. It's a narrative, not just a collection of charts.
Which brings us to step 5, which might be the most important one, the insight. This is where the human analyst really earns their keep.
100%. Your job isn't to show charts, it's to provide actionable knowledge. You have to explain why revenue changed. Pinpoint the driver.
So it's not enough to say revenue's up 10%.
No, it's revenue is up 10%, and that growth is entirely driven by a 40% spike in the electronics category in the West region, which coincides with our new marketing campaign there.
And then you provide the recommendation.
You have to. You say, therefore, we should consider reallocating marketing spend from other regions to double down on the West. That's the difference between showing data and driving decisions.
And this is the perfect lead into our final topic, because that distinction is everything when we talk about Copilot for Power BI.
The game changer.
It sounds like it. I mean,
Yeah.
the sources say it can write DAX, create dashboards from plain English,
Yes.
suggest visuals.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's automating the entire job.
The acceleration is absolutely real. But, and this is huge, swipe, but Copilot is a fantastic assistant, not a replacement for an expert. It's an accelerator, not a strategist.
Okay, so where does it fall down? Where does the senior analyst's knowledge create a gap that AI can't currently cross?
It can't understand unwritten business rules. It doesn't know your company has a weird custom fiscal calendar. It doesn't know about that one product line that you always have to exclude from reporting because of data quality issues.
It can't know the context outside of the data itself.
Exactly. It can't manage stakeholder expectations. It doesn't have human judgment. It's amazing at generating a first draft, cleaning up your DAX syntax, writing a summary. It takes all the mechanical work away.
But the analyst still has to be the architect.
The analyst is the architect. They decide the logic. They make the critical modeling decisions. They tell the final story. AI builds the scaffolding faster than ever before, but the human is still designing the building.
This has been a fantastic deep dive. To really bring this all together, what's the one core takeaway you want people to walk away with?
It's that senior Power BI analysts don't spend their time dragging and dropping visuals. That's the very last step. They spend their time fixing relationships, structuring the model, and writing clean, powerful DAX with Calculate.
So Power BI isn't really a charting tool at its heart.
Not at all. It's a modeling, DAX, and logic tool. And once you understand that, that's when you start producing professional-grade dashboards that can actually drive business decisions.
And looking ahead, the sources point to what's next. It's about combining that Power BI mastery with scripting. So the next challenge for you to think about is mastering Python for data analysts, using libraries like pandas to clean and shape data before it even gets to Power BI. That combination is the next frontier. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the senior analytical mindset. We really hope these insights give you a clear roadmap. If you found this useful, do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll see you next time.